Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea. Welcome to Little Mountain Ranch. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm really happy to have you here with me today. We have some things going on in the kitchen today, and then we are going to take a walk up and I'm going to give you a tour of our guest cabin. We put up our guest cabin, which is called a bunkie, built by a company called Bunkie Life here in Canada, but they do ship all over the US as well. We built it back in October. And we had a really warm October and November, so we were able to get it up and built and all locked up before winter hit. And then it got really cold and we weren't able to do any more work on it. So we had to wait till spring to finish it up. We finally got it finished and all decorated for company. We had our first guests come through last week and they really enjoyed their stay in the cabin, which is just fantastic. So I wanted to show you what it looks like now that it is all decorated. The other thing that we're going to do is to make a soup. I went down to my pantry today and I found some things that I needed to get used up or they were going to go bad and have to end up going to the chickens or into the compost pile. And I really don't like wasting food. So I've decided to put together a creamy soup, and the soup is going to have some freeze-dried cauliflower from last year, some freeze-dried leeks, some freeze-dried garlic scapes, and a bunch of rather sad looking squash. Those are just about my last squash from down in the pantry. I still have, I think, 4 or 5 more spaghetti squash, which last forever in storage, by the way. But these ones really need to get used up because they're starting to shrivel up. And we're also going to use some rather sad looking seed potatoes. So seed potatoes are just potatoes that are held over and you plant them the following year to get your potato plants. And I purchased a surplus of seed potatoes this year, accidentally, but I ended up with some extras. So I planted an entire extra potato patch this year. I gave seed potatoes away all over the place, but I still have some left over. So I have decided to just use them up in some meals over the next couple of weeks. And even though they're a little bit soft, they're still perfectly usable for soup. So this is going to be an everything but the kitchen sink soup. We are going to take a bunch of different things that on their own are not super appetizing, but put together should make a delicious soup. And the last thing that we're gonna do, which is actually the first thing that we're going to get to doing right now, is we are going to package up all of the rhubarb that we picked and freeze dried the other day together. I just pulled these out of the freeze dryer, and you really do want to get the food that you pull out of the freeze dryer put into packages right away because it will absorb moisture from the air. This is particularly true if you live in a really humid environment, almost right away. And we are going to use some of these new bags that I got from 4 Jars. They sent some of these to me the other day, and I haven't had a chance to try them, so I don't know how good they work, but I can say that everything else that I have ever used from 4 Jars has been fantastic. I exclusively use their lids now for all of my canning. I have a pressure canner back over there that is from 4 Jars that is awesome, and we're actually going to give one of those away today. And I use their stainless steel funnels and their can opener, so I'm fairly confident that these are going to be a good product because most things that they make are really good. Their little Mylar bags are so cute. They're shaped like a little jar, and one of the things that I do like about these bags is that they are created so that they will sit on your counter like this for filling up, which was really great. And when I opened up the bag, I found oxygen absorbers in the bag, and I thought this was just such a thoughtful idea, a 4 Jars permanent marker for writing on the bag. It has a place to put the product name, the date it was packaged on, and the expiration date. So most freeze-dried food will last up to 25 years if freeze-dried correctly and stored correctly. My plan with the rhubarb is actually to use it up in the next probably year or 2, so I'm not as worried about the expiration date for that. But for things that you are planning on storing for long term, it's a good idea to put the expiration date on it. Okay, so it is the 19th of 24. I'm gonna do the smaller bags because generally when it comes to rhubarb, I only use a cup or 2 of rhubarb in any given recipe. One of the things I really like about these bags already, I really hope they work well because so far they're fantastic, is that they have a Ziploc on it. So I can actually get these all packaged up, put my oxygen absorber in there, and I already have some oxygen absorbers here that are open that I want to get used up first. And the way that I store my oxygen absorbers in between uses is in a mason jar, a small mason jar, and then I will close them up again. And as long as this little thing here stays pink, you can see it'll turn purple if they're bad, then they're still good to use. So I'm gonna throw an oxygen absorber in there. And then I can close this up with the zip here. And then when I'm done all of them, I can bring you can either use like just a hot iron, or I have an actual sealer that will seal the top of this bag closed for long-term food storage. And I think that is just fantastic. And then I can use my heat sealer on here to actually seal it for long-term storage. So that is super convenient. I do have a code for all things 4 jars, and it's just LMR 10 for 10% off your purchase if you are interested in trying these out or buying their canning lids, which I can attest to. They are fantastic. So one of the things that I do if I'm going to open up a fresh package of oxygen absorbers, I'll get all my bags ready that I'm going to put my food into, however many I think I'm going to need. And then I will open it up quickly, put the oxygen absorbers in, and then reseal the package right away before I put it into my, and that way they stay good, they stay fresh, I guess is the word I would use. So this is my Harvest Right sealer, and it has a gauge on the back here, and that is for the mils here. So you can see these ones are 3.5 mil bags. That's the thickness of them. So we're gonna set our heat for 3.5, and we're gonna seal up our bags. And so now we have freeze-dried rhubarb that could last in storage for up to 25 years, which is pretty darn fantastic. So now we're going to take our oxygen absorbers and seal those back up. We're going to turn this down a little bit though, because this plastic melts pretty quickly. And now it's sealed back up again. I'll stick it in my jar just for a little bit of added protection, and it's good to go for next time. So now let's hop over to this side of the kitchen and put this soup together and see what we can come up with all of this stuff we've collected from around the kitchen. Whenever I cook with this pot, I always get asked what the brand is, and honestly, I don't know. It doesn't have the brand on it at this point. I bought it many years ago at Winners, and I wish that I had bought more than one because it is just a fantastic pot with the size of it and the fact that it has a large bottom on it. I just love it. A fantastic pot with the size of it and the fact that it has a large bottom on it. I just love it. Into that, we're going to put a bunch of our freeze-dried leeks. And when I say a bunch, I mean probably about 4 cups worth. And this is how sad the squash is looking. So you can see it's starting to rot on that end. So I'm just gonna cut that off. So I just cut that off, and I'm just gonna look on the inside here and see if there's anything salvageable. And as you can see, that part of the squash is looking perfectly fine. That part, not so much. So we'll just cut off anything that's good, and the rest will go into the compost. I have a couple, and I think these were either a delicata type of delicata squash or mashed potato, I think maybe they were called. And they are still totally fine. There's no mold or anything on the inside of those. They are starting to dry out a little bit, but going into a soup, they'll be just fine. So we are going to add some milk to this soup and turn it into a cream soup. So we'll just peel these. So we're going to add a couple quarts of water to our soup. And so basically now all we have to do is get all of this prepped up and chopped up. And I'm going to add the squash right into the soup, and then we'll do the same thing with the potatoes. We'll get those peeled and thrown in there as well. All right, I have potatoes and squash all chopped up here, and you would never guess that these were those kind of shriveled up, not the most appetizing looking vegetables, would you? They look pretty good. So we're gonna put those right into our pot, and I think I mentioned that I put probably 2 or 3 quarts worth of water in this pot as well. I've also put in about 6 cups of the freeze-dried, oh, where are they? The freeze-dried cauliflower that's over on the counter over there. I forgot that this was down in my pantry. If I'm to be perfectly honest, I haven't used it all winter, but it smells as good as when I put it in the jar. I did have an oxygen absorber in there. So I'm gonna get this used up over the next couple of weeks. I use a lot of garlic powder in my cooking, so it shouldn't take me long to get this used up. And it's a good thing because I am going to have a whole bunch of new garlic scapes off of my garlic this year, probably in the next few weeks. Garlic scapes form off of hardneck garlic, and I'll put a picture here on the screen of what a garlic scape looks like. I pickled some garlic scapes last year that were really good, and freeze-dried them like I showed you just there. I think I could probably add a little bit more water to this. That is pretty thick. Speaking of pickled things, these are our pickled mushrooms that we pickled about almost 6 weeks ago now. And I promised that I would try them and let you know what I thought. They need to sit for a few weeks in order for the flavors to develop in them. So let's pop open a jar and try. They smell really good. So if Dan likes those as much as I think he's going to, I'll probably can a bunch more because that is pretty tasty. Definitely a little bit too vinegary for me just to eat kind of like plain as a pickle, but on top of a steak, they would be really good. I think they would be good on like a broiled sandwich, like a meat sandwich with some mozzarella cheese. That would be really, really tasty. So far, almost every new recipe that I have tried this year for canning has been one that I would do again. So that's good. I just found out that the Okanagan, which is our fruit growing region here in British Columbia, experienced a 90% loss of all of their stone fruits this year, which is so devastating for all the farmers down there. My heart goes out to you if you're watching and you are a stone fruit producer down in the Okanagan. I am so sorry. That has got to be so incredibly difficult. And that also means that we're not going to be getting local fruit this year or stone fruit. So that's things like peaches and nectarines and plums and all that kind of thing. I did find out that one of the places that we normally buy our stone fruit from every year is going to be shipping some up from, I think they're getting peaches from Georgia. So it is going to mean that they're a lot more expensive. So I'm not sure what that's going to mean for my canning of my fruits this year because I generally can a lot of stone fruit. It's one of the things that we love, peaches especially. So we're gonna have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. I may have to get creative and start experimenting with some other fruits that I normally wouldn't can. I'll let you know how it goes as the season progresses. So now we're just gonna turn this down and let this simmer while all of the potatoes and the squash soften. And then when we come back in from outside, we'll take a taste and see if we need to add anything or if I decide that I want to blend it and make it nice and smooth. Look at how gorgeous it is. Oh, I checked the weather report this morning and it is supposed to be warm now for a couple of days. Speaking of warm, before we head up to the bunkie to give you a tour of that, we need to go down and open up the high tunnel because it does not take much sunlight to get it really, really hot in there. So we have had cold weather. My mom, a couple of hours from us, had frost, not last night, but the night before, wiped out her beans, but fortunately her squash made it through. There was even snow in Alberta, which is our neighboring province. Pretty unbelievable for middle of June. I already came out this morning and uncovered all of my squash and pickling cucumbers. And you know what I think we could probably do is plant my replacement cucumbers that I planted, because we did get frost on the 6th. And I ended up losing some pickling cucumbers then. And it's going to be warm enough that I can probably safely put them out in the garden. Oh my gosh, these poor cucumbers. There's a dead one. Dead. Dead. Some of them that got the frost, you can see here, are trying to make a rebound. Get some new growth on that one. And on that one too. Some of them look all right. I was considering giving up entirely on the pickling cucumbers and just pulling them all out and planting something else in there. But with this change of weather and the fact that quite a few of them are still looking all right, I think I'll give them a chance. Let me show you what I did over here yesterday. I pulled back my netting on my cabbages and got them weeded. These ones are looking not quite as happy as these ones are. Look at how beautiful that one's looking. I still haven't gotten around to getting this row of brassicas actually covered with the netting, but I have not seen a single cabbage moth. It's just been too cold for them. So I think I'm going to get away with having these uncovered for so long. I do need to get them covered up in the next couple of days though. And my corn over there, as you can see, is I don't have much hope for it. I don't think it's going to do very well. But I was really happy because over here, the onions are looking pretty good. I have lots of beets. The beet germination was good. I've just started thinning my beets out on that side. Our turnips are also coming up nicely. And the celery actually did very well. It doesn't seem to mind the colder temperatures. A couple of the leaves got a little damage on them, but they are looking good with lots of new growth. We have potatoes starting to poke through over here. Garlic is looking good. Nice big stems on our garlic. And this really genuinely surprises me. So these are my bush beans, and they managed to germinate in this cold soil and come up and not end up damaged by the cold weather. So that's fantastic. Do need to get in here and get this bed weeded though. Now that makes me really happy. And we have my daughter's rainbow carrots are all coming up. Leeks are looking good. Beautiful lettuces looking beautiful. Some bok choy. This weed right here is the bane of my existence. This is a wild mustard, and it, along with the quack grass, is just the worst ever. I try to get it pulled up or weed whacked down before it goes to seed. So it's flowering right now, but it and this grass is the worst. Oh, someone was asking about quack grass. That's this beastly grass right here. And you can see these are called rhizomes, and these spread and then they send up a new plant. And when you break them off, they just grow another plant. So they're really hard to get rid of. So happy with garlic. Oh look, I got a weather vane for the top of the greenhouse and I just love it. Okay, I bet you this high tunnel is just roasting. Look at how much humidity is on the inside. Oh yes, it's warm. I think I'm gonna actually roll up the sides today. We've had really bad hay years the last couple of years with the drought, but our hay with all this rain is looking really good this year. That's so exciting. Yep, that is toasty. It's amazing how quickly it cools down once I open up the sides and the front and the back. We oriented our high tunnel so that it was facing the prevailing winds, which is south over this way. And that way when we open up both the front and back doors, there's usually a nice breeze that's blowing through here, even when it's really hot outside. And it's nice too, because with it all open, we get pollinators through here. And also, I don't know if you can see the plants moving, we actually get enough of a breeze to move the plants, which helps to pollinate the tomatoes. I was sharing this in my last video, but tomatoes don't require to have pollinators. They can actually just be shaken, and normally I'll just shake my whole trellis like that, and then all the tomatoes that are tied to it move, because the flowers have both the male and female parts on them, and you just need to get the pollen off onto the stamen of the plant in order to have it pollinated. So having this breeze blow through here does the same thing. Look at how pretty my green stalk is looking. And these petunias over here that I planted in this pot are so happy. They are heat lovers too. And I have a volunteer sunflower in here that I decided to leave. Some beautiful pansies. I'm actually going to move these outside because pansies do prefer cooler temperatures, so we'll bring these up by the greenhouse. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful outside. So lovely. Once I'm done my inside work today, I'm going to come and spend the afternoon outside soaking up these rays. We've been deprived of sun for the last, I don't know, month at least. Oh, this is fantastic. These are some scarlet runner beans that I planted along this trellis that I put in here a couple weeks ago, and I thought they had been killed off by the frost, but they actually look good. And these poor, sad nasturtiums also did not like the cold very much. They're very frost sensitive, but you can see tons of new growth coming on there. By midsummer, this will be absolutely filled with nasturtium flowers. All right, let's take a little wander through the forest garden on our way up to the bunkie. I'm going to have a really good raspberry year this year. And I can't remember if I shared this with you here on YouTube or if it was over on Instagram, but I'm very excited because I have these sea berries here, and I have not had any actual berries off these plants. I planted them 5 years ago, I think, maybe even 6 years ago. And they should have been producing for me by at least the 3rd year, but they didn't, because you need a male and a female of the sea berries. These are also called sea buckthorn, in order to pollinate. And my male had died. So I did get a new male and I planted it a couple years ago, but it wasn't mature enough to pollinate these beautiful females here. But this year, I am very excited to say, I don't know if you can see in here, but all those are immature berries, and they're just loaded with them. Both of these are. So that's very, very exciting. This is my male here. Good job, buddy. So hopefully we are going to be harvesting a ton of sea berries this year. Our wild geranium is starting to bloom. These can be very invasive, my friends. So if you do have these, keep them under control by making sure you pull out them if they're getting into places that you don't want them, because I have these all over because I didn't know that when I first started growing them. The same goes for borage. I planted one borage plant 9 years ago in this garden, and I am still reaping the rewards of that decision. Now, I'm finally to the point now where I think I have it mostly under control. Right over here, this is where I had the borage planted. So every spring I come through here. This is down by, I don't even know how much. I have pulled a lot out of here. I love borage and the bees love borage. So this little patch here, I'll allow to grow. But I keep weed whacking down all these other ones that are in here. This entire path was loaded with them. We don't have a lot of plants in this area that end up being super invasive, just because it gets cold here in the wintertime and tends to kill off a lot of the plants. Even mint is not super invasive here, and mint is invasive everywhere. Hi guys, hello loves. Okay, let's wander up to the bunkie. I always get asked when I show the bunkie, because there's not a bathroom in the cabin itself what we do for a bathroom. So we are building an outhouse, probably in the next 2 weeks actually, in behind the bunkie, so it will be serviced by an outhouse. And then if we have any guests that stay longer than a couple of days, then they'll be able to use the shower in the house or in our travel trailer. We do eventually plan to build kind of a common house for the cabins that we want to build over the next few years that will have shower, washer, dryer, full kitchen, that kind of thing. But for now, we just make do. Actually, I'll show you our little trailer on the way past. This is where our company stays that require a bathroom during the night. And my mom has a small dog, so we have this little pen just so that the puppy can go out during the nighttime and have a safe place to be able to go to the bathroom away from our big dogs. It has a separate bedroom, and we mounted a TV up on the wall here. And then it has a little kitchen area so we can have tea and coffee and cereal and things like that here for our company. Some towels. And then it does have its own bathroom. Tiny, but functional. So if we ever have guests that require the bathroom at night, this is where they stay. This is our little cabin. It's called a bunkie. And these are manufactured by a company called Bunkie Life here in Canada, but they do ship all over the US as well. And it's basically a kit that comes with everything that you need to build a little cabin. And if you have 3 or 4 people, you can actually put one of these up within a couple days. It took us a little bit longer, and we did a few extra things to it. Dan built a foundation for it and insulated it. And he also insulated the roof. So he built, I don't know how many inches that is, 6 or 8 inches above what their bunkie came with. And then we put matching shingles to our main house on the top. Okay, let's go look inside. So we found this little couch, which was just perfect as far as size for this small space. And then we have a lamp there with some extra shelves on it. I'm not sure what we'll put on there yet. And then a little heater over here. And this is actually a little kitchen island that we bought. And there is extra shelving over on this side for tea kettle, toaster, things like that. Water, little coffee maker. But we have some dishes in here. A bucket for washing dishes. Some dish towels, coffee, things like that. Little coffee maker, some snacks. And this was something we were so excited about because Dan was planning on building a countertop here, but we found this on sale at one of our local furniture stores, and it was just the perfect size and the perfect height for what we were wanting. So this gives people a place to be able to do computer work or eat or be able to sit here and visit in this space. So I think it looks really nice. I don't have any art on the walls yet because I haven't found the perfect thing. I think what I'm going to do is just put a painting right here and maybe something small over here, but I do want to keep it pretty minimalistic so that it doesn't feel too cluttered in here. And then over here we have towels. Like we said, we have the shower in the trailer, but also in the main house. So guest towels there. This stool, I really love the color of this stool, and it opens up as well so that we can use it for extra storage. And then if somebody wanted to, they could bring it over here and put their feet up while they're sitting on the couch, looking out at this beautiful view. I just bought this little fly swatter here. I have to get some batteries in it and get it all set up. That's just for mosquitoes and flies. And then we put this simple little hook on the wall over here for hanging coats or whatever. So up in the loft, we kept it super simple. We might put something here, just a low shelf to be able to stick luggage on over here, but the space between this and this is quite short, only about 3 feet. So we don't have a lot of room to work with. but it looks really nice and cozy up here. Currently, we only have the power that's run from downstairs right to here, but eventually we're going to put a line in through this wall so that we can have a lamp beside the bed over here. The only thing that I need to do here is put up a curtain rod and some curtains. We're not going to put curtains downstairs just because it's far enough away from the house. There's lots of privacy, but we do need some curtains here for privacy and to block out the morning sun because this does face east. Look at that lovely view that you get to wake up to. I did put just a little battery operated light right here that you can put on if you needed to go down the stairs during the night. And then we have just a little spot to sit and enjoy the view. I have this idea of building a couple of different cabins like this and putting them over up on the hill and then building the common house like I was talking about down there and being able to hold retreats up here. That's kind of a down the road, maybe in 5 years or so, goal that Dan and I have as both a retirement plan, but also as a way to be able to share this beautiful place with more people. I cannot wait to be able to do that one day. And I mentioned before that we are looking at putting a small campground in, so just up to 10 sites, nothing crazy, campground in up on this hill as well, for kind of the same reasons as I was just talking about, as doing a retreat type of thing, something that we could kind of get started with right away. So that's also a long-term goal. We're long-term goal people around here, slow and steady. So let's head back in the house, not for long though. I definitely plan to spend most of the day outside today, but take a peek on our soup. I also have some bread rising as well, or the dough rising. I haven't formed the loaves yet, so that we can have some bread with our soup as well. I always get comments when we go outside together about how happy I seem when I'm outside. And outside is definitely my happy place, especially when it's warm and sunny and beautiful. Okay, so I have decided that I am going to run my soup through the blender just to make it nice and smooth. And my bread is almost ready to form into loaves. So I'm not going to bother seasoning this with salt and pepper or with some bouillon or anything like that until I blend it, and then I'll taste it and decide what it needs at that point. So that's a good base flavor, but it definitely needs some pepper. I feel like it would have even been better if I'd caramelized some onions first. I thought the leeks would give it enough of an oniony flavor, but I'm gonna add a little bit of onion powder too. Yum. So I'll add around a tablespoon of onion powder. And I know that this might seem an odd addition, but I'm gonna add a little bit of mild curry powder to this as well. Oh yeah, that was definitely the right thing to add. Smells like I know it's gonna taste. More pepper and a little bit more salt, and we're gonna call it good. Then we're gonna make our bread and this creamy soup with some delicious homemade bread is going to be so yummy. One of the ways that I have found to kind of bring some joy into the tasks that I have to do during the day that maybe aren't my favorite, like cooking actually. I really love food, obviously. I love growing food and raising food and processing and all that kind of stuff, and preserving. But actually spending time in the kitchen isn't my favorite thing to do. There's a lot of other things I would rather be doing, but it's a really important aspect of my job. So one of the things that I've done to make it more enjoyable for myself, because it's something I have to do a lot of, so I may as well try to make it fun, right? Is sharing it here on YouTube has made it fun. A couple years ago, Dan bought me some antique cookbooks, which I loved and enjoyed so much, and I shared that here on my channel, and cooking out of those old cookbooks made cooking so much more fun for me. And I have since accumulated quite a library of antique cookbooks, in part thanks to you sending them to me. And I love them. I enjoy just sitting down in the evening with a cup of tea and reading old cookbooks, because you can learn so many things about culture and people and history out of those old cookbooks, and it helps to inspire me to want to cook in the kitchen. Oh, hang on. I just heard a little kitty meow. Come here, little one. What are you doing? Many of you asked for more Poppy. This is Poppy, and she is just the sweetest little girl ever, aren't you? She's really, really affectionate because she was born here on the farm and has been handled since she was born, little tiny thing. So she just loves people and loves affection and snuggles, which is perfect. Let's look at our bread here. Oh yes, we are ready to make some loaves. This is my bread recipe, and I do have it over on my website. And it's a super easy recipe. And anybody that tries it so far has said that they've had good success with making bread. So if you've been struggling with making bread, this might be a good recipe to try. And I just about forgot to give you guys the details about the giveaway that I'm going to do. So I'm going to give away one of these 4 jars pressure canners, and I have used this canner and it works great. All you have to do to sign up for it is to click the link below to sign up for my newsletter, and I'll be notifying you of the winner, not this coming up Friday, but the next Friday. Let me just tell you what date that is. One second. Okay, that will be on the 28th. So June 28th is when I'll let you know via the newsletter who won. So if you are already on my newsletter list, you don't have to worry about it. You're automatically entered. And if you're not, you can click the link down below to sign up. And my newsletters, I send those out every Friday pretty much. And I usually will send a recipe, or sometimes they'll just be newsy, filling you in on kind of things that are going around on the farm that I haven't been able to share in YouTube videos. And oftentimes they'll have like deals and discounts and things like that on different products. So if you would like to win a 4 jars pressure canner, that's all you have to do is sign up for the newsletter. Okay, so I'm just gonna divide this up into, oh, that's the wrong knife. I am going to add another dollop of butter to our soup, because I think that's just going to round it out perfectly, add a little bit more richness to it. All right, friends, we have our bread all done here. So I'm going to cut some pieces of it, and it looks good. This is my favorite piece right here. Crunchy piece. But you can see how nice that bread looks. Let's get some butter. So good. So talk about a super simple soup. Taking some things that did not look very appetizing and putting them together to make a delicious, both looking and tasting meal. And of course, fresh bread doesn't hurt. I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.